Okay, so the fall has started. Kids are actually going back to school, and things aren't normal, um, but it could be worse. So what are some ways that we can make sure that we're photographing safely, and maximize the sales we do get opportunities to sell? In this video, we're going to show you just how to do that. So check it out. Many of you are busy, and that's a good thing. We love calling and saying, "Hey, I can't talk right now. I'm busy." That's a great thing that we love to hear when we give you a call. So I understand if you're not able to join us today, but I also do want to especially say thank you for those of you that are able to join us today. I know you also are busy, but the stars aligned and you did have an opportunity to join us live. So you're going to get the benefit of being able to ask your questions live, and we're going to be able to answer them right now. So thank you for being here. My name is Sean Cantrell. If you haven't met, I'd love to meet you someday, but this is Conversations with the Lab. And so this is something that as the shutdowns began to occur and as we learned that business was not going to operate as usual in 2020, we wanted to make some changes and we wanted to get some information in your hands as quickly as possible. And there's been a lot of concern about the validity of different information sources and different things. And so we wanted to cut through all of that, and we wanted to get information from photographers to photographers about what's happening in the industry right now across the country. And so that's where we started this Conversations with the Lab. And you'll see excuse me. And so you'll see we were going to meet on a regular basis, and we're going to continue to do that going forward at this point. And the same reason applies is we want to get information in your hands as quickly as possible, be able to answer your questions as quickly as possible so that you can move forward. As we get started today, I do want to remind you, please mute yourself if you're not speaking so that we can eliminate some of those background distractions. I will try to help you with that as I see those things popping up, but you can definitely help me out by doing that. Also, I will post this afterwards so that if you miss something, have to step away, don't worry, you're not going to lose out. You will get to come back and rejoin us for that. But all right, so let's go ahead and get started. So we've talked about SBA loans in the past. We've talked about incremental income, PPE. We've talked about different services and updates that are coming up at the lab. And today we want to focus on a few things here. We want to focus on what are we hearing from schools that have opened up. We want to hear about how to stay engaged with schools that have kind of put off picture day or moved to a hybrid or virtual model on how that's working. And we just want to outline some ways that you can cut your work time, your workflow in half, and also how to maximize sales in this time. What are some other options that may be on the table to help you maximize your sales for the contracts you are able to engage with at this point? Whew, take a breath, Sean. All right, but before we get into that, I do want to get an update from the lab. So, hey, David, how's the weather in Vegas?
The weather in Vegas is beautiful. It's about 70 degrees today, this morning. And we're here for a wedding. If you guys know Sal Sincata, he's getting married this week. And so we're out here to go to his wedding for he and Alyssa. And so we're looking forward to that. But of course, we're up early and working because we're 2 hours behind. So that means the lab is 2 hours ahead. So there's no rest on that, obviously. But the lab is doing well. Production is doing very well. The staffing for the SPAL for order entry services and production has continued to be just right for the amount of work that's coming in. And we have a backup team that's able to come in as we need them. And that's working out exceptionally well. I don't know about you guys, but I've found at this time there's probably a lot more communication between friendly competitors than there's been for a long time. And an interesting note, as we've been talking to some other labs, which of course all labs have a different mix of types of customers. But from what I can tell, it sounds like customers are doing exceptionally well as far as being able to maintain their business compared to other labs. And I don't exactly know why that is, but I'm very thankful for it. I like to think that work that we're doing in this community and these calls is encouraging and is helping share some of the best ideas of what's working out there. And so, Sean, I appreciate you continuing to coordinate these. And I appreciate all of you for participating in these, because being able to hear even little tiny tidbits of what's working or what's moved the needle a little bit is an encouragement to everybody else in this group. And so if nothing else, then just hearing that it's possible to do business and hearing the different phases roll across the country and the different changes, maybe can give you a heads up so you can continue to operate with some confidence. So I'm very grateful for that. The other thing I thought I'd mention, when we arrived yesterday in Las Vegas, it's very strange to see Las Vegas as empty as it is, and as many things closed and all those sorts of things. But you know what hit me? Hit is the people. Um, I everybody I've heard frequently the COVID fog, and I definitely think that's a real thing. But I also noticed how even small things for people to genuinely engage other people really make a big difference. We were talking with some folks yesterday and us asking the employees, how is it operating during this time with things being closed, with the schedules changing, all the different rules of masks and distancing and all those sorts of things. And it was interesting because the people I talked to were almost oblivious to how inferior the service and experience is right now compared to normal. And really their only observation, it's almost like they'd settled back into this being normal of how things operate. They said sometimes the schedules are hard to keep up with on what's open and what's not, but besides that, it's fine. And I'm sitting there thinking, no, it's not fine. The experience is pretty poor. And I feel like those, at least to the big organizations, the large corporations, those middle management positions that are focused on client experience are probably some of the positions that are scaled back right now. So the entry-level employee, God bless them, no offense intended to them, but they never thought that way unless someone was reminding them of it. And many times owners are concentrating on the budgeting and the keeping the operations going and everything else. But there's that thinking that really focuses on client experience that is missing from a lot of industries right now that are really legendary for being fantastic at client experience, and it's missing. And so my encouragement to you is that as a smaller business, you have the ability to really move the needle on that now. And nothing you can do would emphasize your values or how much you value your clients than those little extra things that just really connect with people, that really care about how they're actually doing, with those little gestures to be thoughtful, those little things to improve their experience. But we also can fall into the same trap of just being so busy adjusting to, oh, great, I need to go back to the school again. And, oh, the schedule changed again. And my employees are asking me for reassurance when I'm not sure. We can be overwhelmed with all those details and forget about client experience. So if you have some bandwidth and some energy, that you can start out the day, that may be one of those little reminders for your employees, for yourself, of just going the extra mile for client experience. Because I'm here to tell you, the large corporations cannot do that right now. That means your large corporation competitors. It means in other industries. And so those little things that you do are really going to stand out that much more during this time, and people are going to remember it. And I also think it can just humanize us just a little bit, that we probably all need to be humanized just a little. So anyway, that's just something I've been thinking about and wondering the halls. Ben and I talked about it yesterday as far as our customer service, and what can we do to just remind our team on that, and do those extra little things. So hopefully that's an encouragement or just something to think about for you. But we appreciate you. We really appreciate how you've been a part of this community to help each other be able to thrive in on all this oddness that will continue probably for a little while. So we need some endurance. So let's stay close with each other. But we appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that, David. I really appreciate just your sense of not just as we learn and adjust and just trying to keep moving forward. I keep having conversations with different studios that are just saying, I wake up and I open up my email and I figure out what's changed and what's new today, and I'm just trying to adjust and survive today. And I think there's a time where we have to do that, right? There's a time where we have to just be okay with not knowing everything and just being flexible. But I also think the risk in that is not stepping back and providing some grounding on what is real and what is true and what is normal, and where am I going beyond just today and tomorrow. So I think those are well-timed words, David. So I appreciate you sharing that. I think we could all use a lot of that right now, as a matter of fact. So any questions for David or Amy that are there about what's going on at the lab or anything like that at this point before we get going? Feel free to unmute yourself. All right. Well, we will come back to that. If something does pop up, type it in the chat, and we'll be sure to get to that when we can. Also, I'd like to share a few announcements. These are things that we've shared in the past, but if you had missed a previous conversation with the lab, you may have not heard about it. So I want to make sure that you do hear about these things because I believe they're important. And I think you do want to hear about them, and you may have just been busy and we may have just missed you. So circling back to cover a few things that we've done to make sure that you know about them. The first and most important one is we lowered the order minimum on school and sports reorders. So they used to be $7 and have all these rules where they had to follow an order that was at least $200 and it had to be in the last 30 days, or like just there's too many hoops and things you had to jump through. Really complicated. And a lot of folks weren't using it just because it was hard to manage all those rules. So we said, how can we make it easy for you guys and also keep the cost at a minimum for you guys and for us? Because obviously there's a minimum cost of doing these orders. So step one is we just lowered the cost from $7 on that reorder box to $5.50. So you just check the box. And we also removed all those complicated rules. So as long as it's a reorder, as long as it follows an order that you've placed from that project and you just check the reorder box, then you'll get that $5.50 minimum. And a bonus pro tip with that is a lot of these reorders, these one-off late orders, are going ship to home. The great news about this is those ship to home costs fall in line to that $5.50 minimum charge. So the $3.45 charge you see for ship to home will count towards your $5.50 charge. So that means that the products you're ordering only have to amount up to $2.05 before you hit that minimum charge. So we thought that was huge. We thought that would be helpful. So I appreciate the thumbs up, Charles, and I hope you guys use that again. To get that minimum charge, you just have to check the reorder box, and then we will apply that automatically on our end. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call on that one. Also, we released several new products this summer. We released a metal keychain, metal bag tag. We updated our Apex Pro knockout memory mate to allow for larger, taller teams. And there's a whole bunch of other products in there that we've released, but those are some of the big ones. But we also didn't just focus on lowering costs and adding some products. We also looked at how can we help with contactless picture day. And a lot of these ideas, frankly, came from these conversations, from these meetings. So thank you for being part of that. We did things like we updated the shoot list to make it easier to flow through and use on a contactless picture day. We also added a new data match option so that you can match with QR cards instead of using scanning on site or doing a post-shoot scan. So there's that option as well. We also created a more powerful custom export feature. So if the general purpose export option didn't give you the image size that you needed, or didn't give you the data you needed and you still needed to deliver exports to your school fast, then we added this additional option for you as well. We're not taking away the option where you can order those exports from us through the software. That's still going to be there. That's not going anywhere, but we added another option for you as well because we know some folks needed that information quickly in order to run in a contactless and fast service option. And then the other thing that I wanted to point out is we rolled out Magic Crop. If you haven't heard about that, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. And then we also rolled out a big feature to HH Image Host so that it has automated email and text marketing campaigns built into HH Image Host. So you're not having to have a separate subscription with MailChimp or manage other mailing lists in order to utilize that. And if that's something interesting to you, give us a call. We can talk with you about that. Or we also have some videos discussing that as well. I'm getting pinged that my chat line is blowing up here. So let me jump over to that real quick and let's get. All right. So Charles, you're saying any chance y'all come out with a card stock for QRs that is perforated like the barcode stock? I'm not using the QRs, but it's a possibility for other new contracts. Oh, and then you say answer later. I should have read that part first. Excuse me. So Charles, truth be told, I have got that request before. We have not taken any action on it yet, and that's been kind of in my shoes. The reason why is we're looking at what is a low cost, low contact way of doing this. And so a lot of our customers are just printing these off on regular photo paper, or sorry, not photo paper, but printer paper. It comes 3 up to a sheet. So it's 3 horizontal camera cards. And folks seem to be really happy with that. But if you're seeing that we're missing something with a card stock, I'd love to talk with you about that later. So maybe we can set up a time one-on-one to talk about that after this. And I think that's it for the moment. All right. Okay, well, guess what? It's October already. Can you believe it? I think the answer to that is it's 2020. I can believe anything at this point. But anyway, so let's go ahead and start moving into our conversation that we want to get to today. First thing I want to talk about is what changes are you seeing that you've had to make to your fall photo day so that you can stay compliant and stay photographing in the schools? So go ahead and unmute yourself and feel free to chime in on what changes you've had to make in order to stay in the schools.
I'll just jump in. So far the changes for us have been pretty minimal, other than sports have been postponed until February. So we're basically out of sports completely until February.
Hey, Charles, can I interrupt you real quick?
Yep.
Where are you at, man? Tell for everyone else, where are you at in the country?
I'm in Eastern Virginia. I'm on the mainland side of the Chesapeake Bay, about 75 miles from Richmond, 75 miles from Williamsburg, Norfolk, that area.
Got it.
We're kind of in a rural area, pretty small school system, and we have about 2,500 students in the system. And we're on a hybrid system of 1 week on, 1 week off. The students go home for at-home learning 1 week. They're on the other week at school. So we're having to double up on picture days. So we've got, one picture day is coming this week for the high school tomorrow, and then one next week because of the split schedule. The sports side is out until February. It remains to be seen how that season looks and how our sports sales do. Almost all of our little league and things of that nature are just shut down right now. On the adjustments we've made, masking, of course, we're not sure what our situation is with parent help. We usually have parent help at the elementary middle level. It remains to be seen. Our school system is pretty cautiously optimistic and positive. It depends on how they and the parents feel about how we're going to do that. We may end up. My mother works with me as my paperwork and order taking individual, so she's safe to be with me. and we're around each other all the time, so we don't have to worry about that. But it remains to be seen what our help situation is. We've also done a little bit of what I've kind of called COVID theatrics. It's debatable whether we're actually doing anything, but we've looked into disinfecting solutions and these disinfecting foggers and all that. Our big question was with the high school seniors, how do we go about taking our tux shirt and tux jacket off of one student and throwing it on the next kid? And is that safe? How do we go about doing that in a safe way? The phone calls to the Virginia Department of Health and the Virginia Department of Education were hilarious.
Okay.
The Department of Health was like, I don't even know what to tell you. And I said, well, are textiles a vector for transmission? And they're like, well, the science is really inconclusive and we're really not sure, but we really don't think so. And, to do your best to, try to keep things as clean as possible. Keep the child masked while they're getting dressed. Keep their child masked until they take their picture. And, if they end up having a coughing fit, then maybe you'll have to shut down for a day. That's kind of what they told me. The Department of Education, I said, I'm just curious what your standards are. And they said, we don't even know who to transfer you to get that answer, is what they said to me. And I was like, okay. And I said, I can't be the only one asking the question. I said, there's got to be other, Life Touch and Candid Color and all these other people out there doing this stuff. No one's asked. And they said, no, you're the first person that's ever called. And so 40 minutes later, I got the assistant superintendent of instruction for the state. And he was like, hey, as long as you mask kids, Lysol the stool if you're using a stool at all. We eliminated the stool. That's kind of where we are. And we've been, as I say, today we've had this kind of all the at-home learners today at the studio, and we're following that same kind of, one child in, one child out kind of guideline. And we're being cautious but reasonable on the things we do, and we've researched these disinfecting things, and we've crossed our fingers online that we could buy a Lysol wipe, So that's where we are. There's very little guidance when it comes to what is acceptable, but our system has been really hand in hand with us about what they want done. They've been really flexible, and we've been able to meet that goal and make the parents feel good about it too. So that's where we're. Yep.
Good. So I want to lean back into something you said there. You're talking about, well, actually two things. First one is you're talking about disinfecting tux and drapes, and I think you're not alone in the health department and the schools going, we're not sure what is safe. But we're hearing a lot of folks saying, what are your requirements for just being in school and staying safe? And we want to at least be at that point, if not better. And generally that's been, okay, as long as you can do that, then we're okay. Wearing masks, those other things that they're already doing in school, just like they're saying. I've heard of some other folks, tux and drape is a kind of a big deal, especially in the East Coast and southern portions of the country. And so I've heard a lot of folks moving to steamers, using the high temperature from the steamers as a way to disinfect and running that in between each senior, just having an extra person there on site to do that as they're rotating through. I do think it's a great point you talk about wearing a mask while they're changing. I think that's important and a good call there. But what I wanted to get to is you said that we switched from sitting to standing this year. And that, whether we're talking about seniors or underclass or whatever, I'm hearing a lot of folks switching from sitting to some sort of stool to going to a standing model to reduce a transmission potential point here. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. I'd love to hear how that's worked out for you, because I know there's some folks that are considering that or have considered that and just haven't pulled the trigger because they're afraid that there's going to be issues with cropping or posing or something like that. What's your experience?
I don't think we're going to have much of a problem. We do have crop lines in camera, so the training one person and another on how to make sure that we have what we need is going to be okay. I think the magic crop feature, if we decide to go that route, is probably going to get us closer if we have an issue. We did have an associate photographer one year that really did have a problem where we had a whole lot more of the child than we needed. And the magic crop feature would have taken care of that problem. Instead, I sat there and cropped and cropped and cropped and cropped. You know, this is what it is. We've all been there.
Yeah.
I don't think the standing model is going to affect us in the sense that we're going to have a problem with the cropping. It at the high school level, it makes our photographers stand up all day, whereas sometimes at the elementary school level, depending on how small the children, sometimes we're kneeling down half the day and standing back up and all that. Yeah, exactly. So we're not going to have that as much. It was amusing when I asked about the stool with the Department of Health, because the Department of Health said, well, I don't want to go into it, but I don't think that particular area of the body is a vector for the disease. Yeah. But
Got it. Yeah.
Check. Yeah. But it was another thing where students are going to be touching the stool, they'll be touching things. And so, it's one thing you can eliminate. As I say, I don't think the cropping is going to be an issue as long as you have crop lines in camera, because you're going to be kind of getting that ballpark anyway. Regardless. The school, as I say, this school is probably more flexible than most. We even brought all these things up to them, and the answer from them was, "Oh, Charles, you know what to do. It's fine. Whatever you want to do, whatever's good for you." And I'm like, well, I need to worry about what's good for your parents. Like, how do they feel about it? What makes them feel comfortable? And we were surprised that about a third of the student body went home for full virtual. So there's a good number of that. Some of that is some people thinking they're going to get a free semester. There's some of that. Some of it is they're actually concerned about the viral situation. So, it's been good so far.
Yeah. For public schools, what we're hearing, and obviously it's different across the country, but if I could generalize it, I would say if it's a public school, attendance is down anywhere from 20 to 50% for virtual learners. If it's a private school, attendance is actually up for most private schools. Something that we're finding. And like I said, it's different, different parts of the country. That's not true. But if I could over summarize to national trend, that's what we're hearing right now. And yeah, I think the viewfinder masks is a big point. Especially folks talk about, how do I crop when they're standing? If you're using that viewfinder mask, it doesn't matter if they're sitting or they're standing. As long as you're hitting that target in that viewfinder, you're going to be happy with it in camera every single time. And then, you can use Magic Crop or some other, crop forwarding tool to pick up some slack in those areas where there's a little bit of margin. But yeah, so far, everyone that I've talked to said that when they switch from seated to standing as a trial, they said, we're never going back. We're going to stay standing from here on forward because it's working, it's safer, and I'm faster because of it. I'm not having to spend time getting people seated and posed. I can pose them faster standing in those situations. So I'm glad that's true for you as well. Jack Cole, it sounds like you've got a similar model, doing something a little different here. So you're saying that for the shorter kids, you're having them stand, and for junior high and higher, you're having them sit on a metal stool, and then you're using a new sheet of tissue paper for each subject. So to me, that sounds like when I go to the doctor's office and they've got that tissue paper in the bench. And so that's good. That sounds like a really creative but good idea. I think wherever you fall in the spectrum of how to be safe, I think it's more important that we're presenting ourselves as the professionals. Schools are trying to solve a multitude of problems that did not exist yesterday, and they're looking for guidance and assurance from you, the professional, on how to photograph a contactless and safe picture day. And that's why a lot of these conversations have been geared around that specific topic. because if you can stay engaged with the school and you can show an aptitude for how to contact a safe picture day, and do it in a way that not only makes people feel safe, but also provides a good expression and a good memory for that family. But dang it, those guys are successful right now. They have more business than they know what to do with. And yeah, the participation's down, but they're staying busy. They're staying open. They're still photographing. And that's good news. That's stuff that we want to hear right now. Hey, Bob, I see your hand raised. Why don't you go on mute and tell us what's up?
Okay, I'm on a mute. I'm
Yeah,
muted.
I can hear you
Hi
now.
there. We've probably been standing 25 years, but our business model, although it sort of resembles schools, is mostly adults. From attorneys to residents and medical situations, and all kinds of medical situations. And our preschool business was always standing. So we don't use the posing stool except in studio for serious portraits. It's fast. It's like fast overall these years to move doctors through really quickly. We may get a hospital, we have to photograph 300 people now. And it's get them in, pose them, have tape on the floor. So I love the standing method. I don't know if it was Sean or David that made the comment about friendly competitors. I felt the opposite, that I've buttoned my mouth about my business. Very much so, because I find it's more like vultures on the kill where I am. That there are a lot of people who have migrated out of the wedding and portrait business who are really looking to school and sports. So, not discussing it. I do no Facebook, no public anything about the teams I'm doing or anything I'm doing, because I find that the minute I say something, 3 other people are standing at the same doorstep looking like trick or treat.
Yeah. No, I think anytime you've got a good contract, word's going to get out, and you're going to have to fight for your turf. I think that's an inevitability. But yeah, if you're publicly marketing those, then you're going to make it a little easier for your competition. But at the end of the, say that again.
It's exhausting. Even our photo booth business, we have switched to coding things, to referring to client number 1522 or cryptic abbreviations on fire jobs. Because the minute I put out that I've been at the cruise nest, which no one knew I did an event there, 5 people are knocking on their doors, and the cruise nest is calling me saying, "So why is everyone calling me about photo booths?"
Yeah. No, I think we'll continue to see that, but it does play a part, no doubt. Jack, you've got a question here. You're saying, I'm concerned with the grooming. What are some others doing on how to comb hair or wipe noses when you need to be 6 feet away? How are you guys handling that situation? How are you handling the flyaway hairs and some of those other issues that you would normally, if you weren't doing that already, if you were, would normally fix that? How are you handling those now? All right.
Well, Sean, I can tell you what we did at our little school is we
Yeah.
asked the teachers to help. So the teachers
Bingo.
are there anyway, they're with the kids. So if we saw something, we just said, can you wipe their nose or fix their whatever? So that seemed to work really well.
Yes, that is exactly what I'm hearing. For the schools that are back in session, either in a hybrid or a full-time model, even though they're back in session, they're still trying to do their best to limit contact points. And one of the ways they're doing that is they're creating cells or classrooms where they're trying to limit the potential for cross contamination from one class to another. So they're trying to keep the classes isolated from each other. But that also means that teacher is obviously going to be in high contact with those students every day. So a lot of situations, if the photographer will ask the teacher to make that adjustment, usually that's been the solution that we've heard most successful so far. Jack, does that answer your question, man? Awesome. He says, yeah. Good. Yeah. So for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic, and that is how to cut your workflow time in half. And if I'm the first person to tell you this, then I'm excited to be able to tell you this. But something that happened, and something that we've actually were developing prior to COVID, but obviously it's going to be more helpful now when labor force has been so dynamic lately. At H&H, we want you to be a successful school photographer. And we realize that in order to do that, you need to take a photo every 30 seconds and you need to get paid for it. But the problem is with processing those thousands of photos, it really can keep you from going out and photographing more. Um, and that in turn makes you feel nervous about taking on more work. And we just believe that you shouldn't have to waste your time doing something that isn't going to get you more of a profit. So we have developed an artificial intelligence machine that can do your head and shoulder cropping for you. So I've got a quick video. There's going to be no audio with it, but I've got a quick video showing you how that process works. And then we'll discuss that a little bit more here. So let me switch to sharing my screen. And here we go. Not yet. All right. I cannot see cameras, but can somebody tell me, can you see my screen? It should say Magic Crop on there. Can anybody go ahead and unmute yourself and let me know if you can see my
Yeah,
screen?
we can see you, Mike, or we can see you, Sean.
Yep, we got
Thanks,
it.
Amy. Thanks, David. I mean, Amy.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a quick demo on how Magic Crop works. And basically it's geared to save you time in 3 easy steps. Basically, you're going to import your images, you're going to cull your images to one pose, and then you can start running that analyze faces while you're doing other things in the background. So it has you come in, pick a target, crop it how you want it to crop, and then start analyzing those faces. And so you can see in the upper left-hand corner, it's running through this analyzation process while I'm going in and doing all my data entry cleanup. Maybe I'm bringing in my additional online orders at this point. But it's having me, we're going through and we're able to do all that other work that would take time and letting this machine focus on the thing that would take the majority of your time in the project. You'll notice here, the Magic Crop is already done. It's just waiting on me to finish doing all my data entry here. So let's see if we can speed that up real quick. All right. Once that's done, you can click on Review Magic Crop. And once you have that set, you can make any fine adjustments that you need to. Sometimes it gets you close, but not perfect. And then you can make that last minute adjustment, use crop forward. And the idea here is it's not going to be perfect 100% of the time, but the goal is to save you at least half of the time it would take you to crop. We're having folks saying, it used to take me 45 minutes to crop a project, but now it's taking me 10, 15 minutes to crop a project. And with that time savings, I'm able to do other things at that point. So the idea, again, is not that it's going to be perfect. This is a machine and still learning. But the results we're getting so far from the feedback is that it is saving me at least half of my time that I would spend cropping, which is the thing that takes the most time when I work up an order. And that, in combination with some of these other options, are allowing me to stay agile, to photograph quickly, and stay focused on the other parts of the business that are now taking up more time than they used to in the past. Maybe that's additional retake days because of the hybrid schedule, or adding additional sanitization processes for photo day, those other things. So I'm really excited about Magic Crop, and you can tell by that, and how I'm talking. I'm very excited about it and what it can do for you and saving you time. But I know there's a lot of folks that still have questions. So if you have questions about that, call us. Otherwise, if you'd like to learn more, I've got a link here I'm going to post in the chat, where you can click on that, learn more. And if you're interested, you can purchase a set of credits And the idea is 1 credit equals 1 image. And the pricing model is set so that it's about $10 a school, 400. The price is going to fluctuate, obviously, because of the amount of credits you may buy. But the general ballpark is most people are paying $10 to be able to cut their time in half in their workflow. And so far, it's been a win-win for both of us. But I'd love to hear you guys' feedback. At that point, is there anyone here? I haven't looked through the list of attendees, but is there anyone here that has actually used Magic Crop? Nobody. All right, I have got to change that. So I got your names now, and I'm coming for you. We'll just say it that way. All right. Okay. Well, let's move on. So let's talk about 3 ways to maximize your sales. We got those last 15 minutes here, so we're going to cram that in. Step 1 is if you're not using the school calendar that we provide. So we've got a calendar on our website that has activities that you need to be doing the 12 months out of the year. And this month, October, it's got 4 things you need to do. And the number 1 thing is definitely applicable right now, and it's call on schools that you don't have. So step 1 to growing your business is call on schools you don't have. Contacting them has been a little awkward this year with, can I go in there? Can I, be face to face? But having some sort of contact, whether it's virtual or in person, is going to be better than no contact at all. So we're finding that schools or studios that are contacting schools regularly, even the ones they don't have, are finding additional jobs that are coming to them and saying, I need help this fall because my photographer, my partner XYZ, I can't get a hold of them. And so I'm needing help. Can you fit me in now? And so that's something that I've talked to probably half a dozen schools last week alone, studios last week alone that had schools that fell into their lap. And now they've got 3 extra schools this year because they were communicating and engaging with their customers. So call them. The best time to call them is now, obviously, but the second best time to call them is after the pictures have been delivered. If this is one that they've already photographed, call them after pictures have been delivered. Try and get some feedback on how packages went, how picture day went, what were the price points, those sort of things. Those are going to give you some key pain points and some key talking points you can use in follow-up conversations with that school. Also, this is a kind of a leader into another one, is if you're not photographing them, talk to them about their yearbook businesses. This year's going to be really interesting for yearbooks, I'm not going to lie. But now is a great time to start getting into that yearbook business. And if you haven't, contact us and we can definitely help you get started with some information and some good questions to ask as you're trying to pursue that option together. Before I reveal the next option, I just want to put it out there to you guys. Do you have any recommendations on how to go out there and get more business right now? What's been working for you this fall?
When you say yearbook, you're talking about smaller softbound things. You're not talking about hardbound Johnston's type yearbooks, correct?
As far as you getting the job, no, it's softbound, hardbound.
But are you talking about the type of yearbook that's 300 pages that would be done factory made yearbooks? Are you in that business now?
Yeah, we've been in in printing yearbooks for many years now. I would say 300 pages would be a little larger than something that we can personally do. But we can do soft cover and hardcover yearbooks. We can do that quite well. We partner with different design services that focus on yearbook design that you can output through us that we can do the production and delivery for.
Do the students have involvement in the layout?
You can set that up if the school, like a junior high or high school, has a yearbook class. You can have them set up to do certain portions of the book, and you can be the final approver, or you can do a cohort where you do some and they do some. It's very flexible in some of these different software companies out there. So if that's interesting, give us a call and we can at least talk about what those options are further. Good question, Bob. So anybody else, how are you growing your business? What are you doing right now to stay active and growing your business? Amy, I'm going to pick on you. You ready for this?
All
Go
right.
ahead and unmute yourself.
There we go.
What are you doing? What are some things that you're trying with the school to stay engaged and grow some sales?
Oh, are you talking about the senior souvenirs
Mm-hmm.
that we're doing? Yeah. So we've come up with, we have sports going on at the little school that we do, and we've come up with some senior souvenir gift ideas for the senior parents to kind of help honor the kids and honor the seniors on the different teams. So we put together a price list, and we have items like we have items like yard signs, big heads. We do a senior group picture, so we've done a cool graphic with the senior group pictures. So we offer posters of that, prints, medals, blankets, different things, and I think it's gonna be good. We've seen
Yes.
have good response for that. So I have some ideas for changing some things, but I'm excited.
Yeah. So what I've asked Amy to reveal is just we're testing out some different product options that are not currently available at H&H. Some are, but we're trying different things to see the validity before we bring them to you guys to make sure they're going to work. But so some products for some additional sales. So how can we maximize sales for existing customers while still honoring the seniors? I mean, 2020 was a big deal about honoring the seniors that were graduating in spring of 2020, and so those that are graduating in spring 2021 is still going to be important. Excuse me. And so having different options like gift items. Also, if you're not doing this already, senior banners is a great thing. Usually that's not something that you sell to the parent. That's something you're going to sell to the school to say, hey, we want to provide a banner for every senior this year to put up in the field house or on the football field, on the fences, those sort of things. That's a great opportunity for you to maximize some of those sales. And the great news is you already have those images, right? You're not going to have to go back and photograph again because you already have the images you can use with that. Bob, what's up, man?
Could you share what you believe the demographic is of a blanket buyer? As I see it, I can't imagine this product as anything that would even catch my eye for half a second. So who wants blankets? Why? What age group? What purpose? It just doesn't resonate with me in any way from all the photographic products I've sold in the half a century.
Yeah,
so what
senior
you're saying
girls.
is, yeah.
Yeah, senior girls love them. In fact, my daughter's volleyball team just ordered, that's their senior gift to their senior nights tonight. And they ordered, each mom ordered a blanket for their kid as a gift for their senior.
With a single picture, not a group picture.
No, they did different group pictures. It wasn't through us. They did it, through one of those online companies. They didn't know we offered those blankets. I would have done it for them, but they did their own design. And but yeah, I've seen several teams, football parents, football moms, lots of teams.
I would say junior and senior moms are the target market for those of athletes, high school athletes.
Yep.
But not for the mom, not for the kid. I can't see a 17-year-old guy wrapping himself in himself.
No, that's for the mom to stay warm and to show her pride of her son at the football game.
Yeah, and a lot of times you can design, I don't know about your guys' teams, but our teams have themes. So if there's a theme for the team that year, you can put the theme on the back or make a generic graphic or put the school logo on it. I mean, the school logo is really cool too. People like that, and girls like it a lot.
Oversized button to wear to the hockey game where your kid's playing, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Bob, you're not the target market for this one, man.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, no, it's surprisingly it's not going to be a massive profit center for you, but it is going to bring in some additional sales and increase your averages that much more is the goal for
What's
this
the
type of
wholesale
product.
price generally?
Wholesale price depends on, we have at H&H, we've got two sizes and we've got a one-sided and two-sided. Give me 1 second here and I'll pull that up off our website. Studio Specialty Blankets.
And I love our
Um,
blankets. They are so soft. I mean,
yeah, we've got
they're a great product.
a fleece and a velveteen.
The velveteen
And
is my favorite.
the velveteen, yeah, me too. I like the velveteen.
Yeah.
Price point's going to start at $40.
With a 2.5 time markup, can't get that much. Probably only get one.
Probably not.
Mm,
Probably
right?
one at most.
one
Yeah,
of
I'm
them.
charging in Midwest. I'm charging 75. So
Yeah.
Dye
and it's
Yep. So
custom
dye
design.
sublimation,
mhm.
and it doesn't cake up like having vinyl on it, right?
Oh no.
It just dyes the fabric.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I've had one for years since Nathan played football, and I use it all the time. Love it.
The machine washable and durable.
Oh yeah, the wash is great.
I'm adding it for my my winter sports. It'll help.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Moms will love
Nice.
it.
Good.
Nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thanks, Bob. So getting additional sales from existing customers, that's been a big focus of me personally this fall, this summer and this fall. And some of it's with additional ancillary products. Some of it, the majority of my focus is honestly has been on email and text marketing, is adding that automated email and text system built into HH Image Host so that you can engage folks that you can't hand a flyer out to, or that you can re-engage those leads that logged into the site but for some reason didn't place an order. Or my personal favorite is to be able to engage someone that already made a purchase and get them to buy more. The great thing about photo buyers is you generally offer them something else in addition. You're going to pick up another 10 to 15% additional sales by just marketing those current buyers. But having a system and being able to do that so that you can market to each of those different types of customers differently, because they have different needs and are different parts of the relationship with you in that buying process, is really important, and is going to set you apart from your competition. And so that's where you've seen me talk a lot about it over the summer and this fall, is this email and text marketing. As a matter of fact, we have a whole playlist of videos on YouTube where I've put together what is a system, what is a lead, how do I modify when these messages are being sent out and what they say. These are all things that you get to control, and that we want to be able to put in your hands to help you maximize sales. Interesting thing about that is, according to MailChimp and Constant Contact and these other email marketing companies, the industry average for portrait photographers is measured in opens and in clicks. So when an email is opened and when a link inside that email is clicked on, those are the two big success points to show how successful is this campaign. For portrait photographers, the industry average is 24% open rate, and I think it's a 4% click through rate. So 4% of the people that you send a message out to are clicking on a link to go to the site. Since we've launched this system in HH Image Host, we're averaging double those numbers. So we're in the high 40s, I think 48% open rate. And then we're at, I think, a 25, we're at an 8% click through rate on those. So have very, very exciting numbers compared to what the industry is saying you should receive at this point. So sorry, I'm rambling. Charles, you have a question, man. What's up?
I had to find my unmute button there. I'm sure the YouTube video probably answers all of this, but I'm going to be lazy and ask the question here anyway.
Sure.
Because of our we have high school picture days, we have elementary and middle school picture days, and I run those as one project file in HH schools. So we're not running those as separate events on HH Image Host. How do I go about not having parents getting the kind of ominous message that says, picture day is coming up. This is your last chance to order, when it's not really their last chance to order because they're an elementary parent, which is like 2 weeks away, and the high school date is this week. And how do we go about dealing with these multiple dates with the marketing campaign?
Yeah, so let's break that down, because you're not the only one to ask that, so that's okay. So first of all, I want to clarify, you're talking about prepay events, right?
Correct.
Okay, so ordering is generally up to picture day, maybe a day or two after, right? Something that's very common, especially this year, is a hybrid picture day. Is you're having to come in on a Monday or Tuesday and photograph, and then come back either later that week or later next week to photograph the other half of the school, because the school's not meeting collectively on campus at a single time. You're going to have to split that up. So how can we communicate A through L? Your picture day is Monday, October 5th, and K through Z, your picture day is going to be on Thursday, October 8th, or something like that. How do we do that? It's really simple. Like you said, it is in the videos, but I'll give it to you for free here. So what you're going to do is you're going to modify your campaign to say, instead of saying picture day is tomorrow, you're going to say picture day starts this week. Click the link to see your picture day. So see when your picture day is. And so when you click on that link, it takes them, and in that event landing page, you can list the 2 different picture days that has schedule, or however it's breaking down. If it's 2, 3, 4 picture days, you can have all of that listed right there in that event landing page. And you're already getting them migrating off of their email onto the event, which is the entire purpose of that campaign. The whole purpose of those prospect campaigns is to get people to log in to the event, and then we'll take it from there with the lead and buyer campaigns. So by doing that, you're giving them one more reason to go in and click on that link, not just to view packages, but also to see when picture day is happening. So a couple small text changes should take you 5 minutes at most. If you have any questions on how specifically, what screen do I click on to do that, just give us a call and we can talk you through that. If you'd rather do this one-on-one, happy to.
Sure. Yeah. So it looks like I had halfway done that. I had put all the information in. I just haven't edited the email going out. So that's good. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can edit those emails. It's a what you see is what you get type of system. So just like a Microsoft Word document, you go and make the change there, and you're going to see what it looks like. We're also using some what we call keywords, so that you can pull information from the event and populate it in the email itself. Things like when the expiration date is, when event date is, a whole bunch of other things that I'm blanking on right now. There's a whole, at the bottom of the edit screen for that email, you're going to see a list of keywords, and that's so you can personalize that email for that particular campaign, for that particular event. Good question, Charles. Good question. So lots of folks have been excited about this, but the biggest barrier to this is I've never done email marketing before, and I don't know how to get the email addresses. That's been the biggest concern a lot of folks have approached us with. And I'm here to say the system will still work for you. It'll still work for you. It's designed as a turnkey solution, so that you can start running with it, and having some form of email marketing is better than none. But obviously, if you want to really get in there and craft this to be something that's effective and personalized and matches your tone of voice, then I would absolutely encourage you to log in there, spend half an hour, massage some of those emails so that they sound like they're coming from you and they're sending at times that you think are appropriate. That's absolutely available to you. The other thing is, if I'm not getting the email addresses, how do I do that? Well, I'm here to tell you, if you're on HH Image Host Prepay, you're already getting some email addresses. Every time someone logs in or places an order, we're collecting those email addresses, and we're using that to follow up with those folks. We're using that for our lead campaign and our buyer campaign. We're also able to pull that data and use that for the second sale campaign, that we can feed that into HH schools, which will then populate that second sale campaign when that second sale event gets posted to. But I would say the biggest thing is just ask for the information. Explain, hey, you've got enough stuff going on, Mr. Principal, Mr. Superintendent. You have enough problems you're trying to solve this year. Communicating Win Picture Day doesn't have to be one of those problems. If you will share that email information with me, and I promise not to sell it to a third world country, I will manage the Picture Day communication for you. Let me take that burden off your plate. And in the past, where that's been kind of a friction point, we're having a lot more folks being more accepting and cooperative with that request. So if you're not asking for it, just start asking for it. And if they say no, keep on the next Picture Day asking for it. Start making it part of your rhythm and your habits. And you'll find that folks that are generally more concerned about that are going to be more trusting with you, especially as they build more trust with you as a photographer. So enough on that, because I know we're running out of time. Last 2 points are, if you're not doing this already, school composites or classroom composites. In the past, a lot of elementary schools have done some sort of group picture day, or preschools have done a group picture day, and that's been a point of concern for a lot of folks. Instead of group pictures, you can actually order composites for the classroom. And we can use the headshots that you took from Fall Picture Day to populate those composites. You can either do an all school wide one that they can post in the hallway of the school, or you can offer a classroom size one, an 8x10 or 6x8 size that you can use to sell or gift to the school as a point of opportunity that way. So that's another option. And then lastly, and we're going to talk about this more in a future conversation with the lab, is yearbooks. Yearbooks has got an immense opportunity this year for you. There's going to be lots of confusion and chaos, and the person that did it last year isn't here this year or whatever. So having an opportunity for yearbooks and being able to provide a solution, even if it's just as a printer, because of your partnership with H&H, is going to be a great opportunity for you. But also there's going to be some options that if you want to take the burden of designing or laying out that book off of the school for a service fee, that's another way that you can increase those opportunities for you to increase your sales. So to recap, the 4 ways are calling on schools you don't have, looking at selling additional things to the school that you already have, increasing your email and text marketing through HH Image Host, or selling the images that you've already photographed again through composites or yearbooks. So that's actually 5 things, even though I told you 3. So you're getting 2 for free on that one. So hope you enjoy that. We are over time, but I'm just going to open this up for just a minute or two. Any other questions from you guys before we wrap up today? Charles.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to want to talk to you directly about the prepay emails. I did a few edits, but I got a couple extra little questions that I'll do off this. So
sure,
I'll give you a call.
Happy to. Excellent. Anyone else?
Thank you guys.
Hey, Bob.
For us. We really appreciate you.
Yeah. No, this is something that we're through this together. It's hard, but honestly, this is a great time for the independent photographer. You're agile, you're mobile, you can adjust with these changing circumstances a lot simpler than some of these larger companies can. So if it's in your appetite to grow your business, now is a fantastic time to do that. You just need to make an effort to get out there and call in those schools.
I have a 49-year-old business, and I've been through every part of this industry, starting as a commercial photographer, photographing large machines in factories with 8x10, and taking backgrounds out with a brush, making contact prints. To weddings and seniors, and H&H was responsible for building our senior business by taking us to Bruce Hudson 20 years ago and making that happen. So it's a new chapter with H&H that put us in the volume, something we didn't look at before.
Wow, Bob, that's fantastic. The stories you could tell, man.
Really.
Yeah. thank you guys for joining us today. If you're here, I'm glad to see your faces. It's good to talk to you. If you couldn't join us, I hope you're enjoying watching this recap. If you have any questions, please, as always, reach out to us, give us a call, send us an email. We want to help you stay active and stay invested in this industry because we think there's a great opportunity for you. But until I see you next time, hope you have a great day. Talk to you guys later. Bye.